and welcome to another episode of Oh So Curious. We are back with another fantastic, jam-packed episode. Today, the big news is, of course, the new Superman suit is officially been on display and revealed by, of course, director James Gunn. We're going to talk all about that. That's the big news, but of course, that's not the only news. The Met Gala is on today. We're going to get into that at the very start of the show. And of course, we're reviewing movies as we always do. The idea of you, the fall guy. I mean, it's the summer movie season's here, and we have lots of movies coming out all over the place. Whether you're watching it at home or you're watching it in a movie theater, and even beyond that, we've got other things to talk about. I'm sure we'll get into lots of other topics. So to do that and so much more, let's get the show started.
Hi, everybody. We are, it's so funny that Dan says that the big news today is a Superman suit when the internet is going crazy over the Met Gala, but now we know Dan's priorities, so that's all good. Here to talk about the news, the Met Gala, and all the good stuff is John. How are you?
Pretty good. Hopefully I can deliver some sort of opinion on this. Not sure if I can, but I'll try.
I'm curious as to what you're gonna have to say. I'm excited for this one. Bridget, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Great to see you all again. I blow dried it for once.
I was like, wow, her hair looks stunning, guys. My hair is not stunning today.
My hair is the best.
John's got jokes over here, everybody. So the big news right now is Met Gala. People are going wild. There is speculation that there are fake AI images circulating of celebrities that are not even at the Met Gala, have not even been confirmed to be going to the Met Gala. That is hilarious. So right now, if you type in Katy Perry Met Gala AI, there's this photo on X that has like over 300,000 likes, except it's fake. It's not even a real photo of Katy Perry. But I would say, Dan, are we able to pull up some of the looks? I mean, so far, I am obsessed with so many people, but there are a lot of looks that are just not quite hitting for me. I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Like, everybody's freaking out over Zendaya. She's stunning, but I actually prefer her second look to her first look. Her first look has like grapes on it. The theme this year was like Garden of Time, which I do really like that. That was great. But I think, yes, this look, Zendaya's second look for me was top tier. For, I don't know, some reason it just hits better. Kim Kardashian's look, big flop, everybody. What are your guys' favorites so far? Have you guys even seen it? John, did you look at them?
I skimmed it really quickly. Everyone's beautiful in their own way. I'm gonna say that. I don't really know.
I was like, that's what we're going for here? Come on, it's Hollywood, yeah. John. Is that what you're gonna say about every movie you ever see too?
I liked when I was skimming through, I thought Barry Keoghan's suit would look really nice. I like the vibe he was going for.
Yeah, that's I love Lana Del Rey.
Right? It's seriously so good. It's giving like some sort of ethereal Snow White moment. Yeah, I love.
Reminds me of like those things that like you would grow like a butterfly in from like a caterpillar.
Yeah, that's so funny. Actually, I'm wondering if that's exactly what they were going for here. So she's wearing Alexander McQueen. But you know what? Who really like basically all of the Kardashians just kind of came through like very meh for me. I
agree. Actually, I didn't like Kylie's very much either. I think
it was just so bland. Like there wasn't really anything going for that.
Yeah.
FKA Twigs, her look just confuses the crap out of me. I'm like, what does that have to do with the garden? Also, J-Lo's look. Not a fan of J-Lo's look at all. That was super terrible. Like, not even on theme. I have so many friends that will they're in fashion, so they will go through and do like live updates of everybody's everybody's looks, and I'm just like, yeah, most of these are given meh. I'm not into it. But there are definitely some showstoppers for sure.
I think Demi Moore and Harris Reed. I really liked theirs. They did like a pose together, and they really took the opportunity to be artistic.
I love. Yeah, I'm like trying to skim who else is. I'm like, yes, Barry Keoghan, you were right. He kind of came through with that, but Sabrina Carpenter's look was kind of meh for me too.
Yeah,
I was like,
great.
Doja Cat's look confuses me. She showed up in a towel and then she was wearing a wet t-shirt.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that has to do with the garden. Maybe she is the garden, but why is she crying? There's just like so many things I just don't understand. Yeah, Dan, if you keep scrolling down, you'll see Doja Cat's second look. It's pretty funny. But yeah, that's a roundup on the news today. I'm sure we're going to be seeing all sorts of, see, what is that? Like, what does that have to do with the theme? But Doja Cat always is basically like an anti-theme kind of girl.
Yeah, that's her own thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, sure. But I think the theme keeps it on theme.
Yeah, she wants to be.
If I were going, she wants to be different. So yeah, that's the Met roundup. If you guys are watching the Met, let us know who your favorite look is. Do you guys watch the Met Gala like live taping? Do you guys see it? I wonder if like I don't know who actually like signs up to watch everything online. I've never done that. I don't even watch.
I didn't know there was anything.
I wait until all the highlights come out in the magazines, and that's when I usually.
And then you scroll through it. No, that's super smart. Well, thank you guys for coming to the news. That is the news. There was obviously other news, but we're trying to not make this episode super long because we want you guys to stick around. So remember to like, share, subscribe, and tell us your favorite Met Gala look. And we will be back in just a moment. All right, guys, I think we're reviewing a movie now. We're talking about The Fall Guy. Good times.
This movie is absolutely an ode to the entire stunt industry.
Not only is the movie itself wildly entertaining, you've made the lead up to the movie wildly entertaining.
I was happy to be the first actor to say I did none of my own stunts. But they weren't going to let that happen.
It's such a fun movie that I don't see anyone going to see this in the theater and walking out and being like, oh, that wasn't
They'd have to be good. Dead inside to feel that, right? Come on.
There's the quote.
He was so dead, Gail. He was super dead.
All right, let's talk about The Fall Guy. So it's the big movie of the week. It's making money at the box office. It's the beginning of the summer movie season, and this is exactly the kind of movie you want to kick off the summer movie season. So yeah, let's talk about The Fall Guy. I first heard about this movie like a year ago, and I was like, oh, it's one of those two directors from the John Wick movies, and of course it's kind of split off after the first movie started doing their own thing, this movie really pays homage to stunts, and the director comes from a stunt coordinator background, so it's a perfect fit. I think almost a fit made in heaven. So with that in mind, guys, The Fall Guy, let's talk about it. Angelina, you went and saw the movie, so let's start with there. Like, what are your thoughts on the film?
I mean, I'm such a big Ryan Gosling fan, and sort of reading, unfortunately this movie did come in a little under box office projections, and it's actually like the 9th. It's pretty low on the list for Emily Blunt's opening weekends. It's up there aside from Barbie for Ryan Gosling's opening weekend, but people are kind of speculating like, oh, if it can't even hit marks, like, does star power really exist anymore? But with that being said, I think this movie is hilarious, incredible, 10 out of 10. So just, there were some times that it took itself like a little bit too seriously, because Ryan Gosling is kind of one of those people that, like, even when he does comedy, sometimes it feels like it's like, it just doesn't get quite there. But overall, he's so great. The stunts are crazy. I have never seen more stunts in a movie. I've never seen crazier stunts in a movie. I have never seen more action-packed stunts. Like, I feel like this movie needs to win awards for just the sheer amount of stunts and explosives in one movie. Like it's kind of crazy, truly. But it really was like a really fun time of the movies. I saw a critic review that was like, it's been a long time since I've seen something switch so definitely between phenomenal action-packed like stunts and then a full-on love story. And you really do get both. They play with some really fun shots here that are really crazy. But when I'm talking about the stunts, like this image, truly wild. Like if you're gonna see a movie just to be a little jaw dropped at like, holy cow, okay, that man literally just did backflips off of a helicopter. How did they even do that? This is it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the movie, the trailers look fantastic. I mean to the point, honestly, I was a little concerned at one point that this movie might be too cliche, like in what it was going for. But I mean, it seems like, well, right. But like what I mean, what I thought was like, sometimes you go for that and you don't really lean into it, and it feels like this movie really did lean into that, and it embraced that as part of its identity, which was, which is fantastic. I mean, John, you did you have a chance to see it?
I did.
What did you think about the movie?
I went to go see it opening day. I saw all the trailers. I was super stoked for it. And while I ended up liking a lot of it, I feel like I was a little disappointed by it. Like, don't get me wrong, it had a lot of great stuff. Like, Ryan Gosling is great as always, and I think his chemistry with multiple characters like Blunt and even Winston Duke, like that friendship was really good. Yeah. I mean, Jean-Claude, he was the real star of the movie. Let's just get that perfectly clear. He was amazing. The action, as you were saying, is spectacular. The third act alone was amazing from beginning to end. You could definitely feel like the love and passion David Leitch has for, making movies and trying to get, more respect for the stunt coordinators, stunt performers, anything regarding stunts. Like, stunt people have been trying to get like an Oscar category for them for years, and it's more than deserving of this. But I know casting agents are getting a category, I think starting next year or in 2026. We need stunt people to get awards, whether it's stunt person, stunt coordinators, both. Stunts in general. I know sound has an entire category, so it's like just have stunts and just nominate them, because I feel like they deserve it at this point. I do think a lot of the comedy really worked. I thought the popular music was funny. Like, I do love me some Kiss. Like, Kiss is great. Always going to be great. I liked how they showed, like, the behind the scenes of the actual stunts behind the movie during the credits. I love the Lee Majors cameo during the mid-credit scene. I thought that was great. Him and Heather Thomas, who were part of the original show. And I feel like with the villain, it just makes sense. And spoiler, by the way, just letting you know. The fact that a producer and an egotistical actor are the villains is just perfect. And that's just absolutely hilarious. And it works. But it does, the things that kind of drag is the fact that the plot is like almost non-existent. A lot of the movie felt like kind of awkward and jumbled. Like, I liked what I was watching, but it just, I wasn't invested in it. Like, I'm like, I like this love story. I like this action, but I wasn't like terribly like edge of my seat. And like I'll go back to like Top Gun Maverick. That entire movie, I was on the edge of my seat.
Well,
and
the stakes were so much higher, right?
Yeah.
In Top Gun Maverick. Like, the stakes are just so much higher from the beginning. The beat of the movie is just so much different from Top Gun. Like, I don't even know if that would fall in the same category.
It's
like, this is absolutely like
film.
a comedy action movie.
Oh, yeah,
right?
easily.
Like, whereas Top Gun Maverick is like drama, drama action, just like you're meant to like be there. You know what I mean? Like, they're so different.
No, I get it.
But I
have a better comparison.
I do love the soundtrack, though. You hit on that one. I have not seen better use of a movie soundtrack than the last two movies I have seen since I don't even know when. Like, maybe Top Gun Maverick. I feel like none of
James Gunn has entered the chat, maybe. All of his Guardians movies have killer soundtracks.
Oh, I mean, that's True, but I feel like he almost uses that as more of like a comedic montage moment more than he
I guess
uses
so.
that to like motivate the plot. Like he always uses the best soundtracks for like full on weird funny montages, and Chris Pratt just kind of like acting like a dodo. Like I mean, we love Chris Pratt, but like that's kind, you know what I mean? Like the Challengers, the soundtrack phenomenal. They use that to motivate the plot. Even in this, I feel like they used it to like motivate the plot. It came out.
Oh yeah, it was like a motif throughout the whole movie. I Was Made for Loving
Yeah.
You. Definitely a motif throughout the whole one because
Yeah.
you could definitely hear those beats.
And the Taylor Swift moment was pretty funny. Like
I thought
him
that was
crying
funny.
to Taylor Swift, and then
I
she
will
walks up to him.
say-
I'm like,
Yeah. But I will say there were some moments that go on for way too long, like some comedy
Yes.
moments, I feel.
yeah.
Like
There were
the
some moments
scene
that he
with-
just didn't hit it like the way he
Yeah.
really needed to.
The
Yeah,
scene
I
where
agree.
like Emily Blunt and him are talking, and it's the scene where he's set on fire and thrown into the big boulder, and it just goes on for way too long. And those are the scenes that the comedy doesn't hit. Felt like there was a lot of poor pacing in the second act. Felt kind of generic and bland at certain points. And
I don't even know if it was like bland. I just felt like it tried too hard. Like the premise of the movie is pretty good, pretty fun. Like an altogether new premise. I mean, in a way, but not really. It's like guy defeats bad guy trying to set him up, and he gets the girl at the end. Like that's the motif of this movie.
I mean,
which is fine, and that is generic. But I feel like my issue with the movie was not that it did those things, because I think it redid those things well enough. My issue truly was just with like the moments that they just didn't hit the way it needed to, and I just feel like Ryan Gosling can't carry comedy like that. Like he's not a comedic dude.
I don't
know
know.
what I mean?
He
Like
hit a lot in The Nice Guys is definitely a better comparison in terms of like comedy action, because I feel like the comedy hit the action. To be fair, it did have a better director at the helm with Shane Black, but I feel like that's more on the director and the writing than Gosling himself, because I've seen Gosling be really funny and hit like consistently, but I do agree that he definitely didn't hit. But I don't think that's a him problem. I think that's more of a
might have been like
crew
editing,
problem,
pacing,
or
scripts,
editing, pacing, that kind of thing. And I will be lying if I said sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're fine.
Don't get me wrong, I see what you're saying about like the popular music. I personally like more of a score, like more of a musical score of like a composer writing something for the film. And with popular songs like helping throughout, and we didn't get that here. Because there are a lot of scenes where it's like there's just nothing in the background, and I'm like, I feel like there should be a score here to help zhuzh up these scenes, like kind of like just give them a little bit more oomph to make me a little bit care a little bit more, like just to help it like kind of speed it along a little bit more. But even then, I'm not trying to complain too much because I really enjoyed this movie. I just feel like these are avoidable problems that could have been like more tightly edited, and I feel like it could have
especially
been better,
because they
but that's
threw
just me.
so much money into the marketing, and they even said this, like Ryan Gosling full sent, like he dressed up as Beavis for the premiere, like at Beavis and Butthead. He really was marketing the crap out of this movie, as was Emily Blunt. Like they spent so much money on the press and everything. You would think that they would have taken a little bit more care with those moments. I totally agree with you. Right now, as far as the reviews go, we've got an 83% certified fresh on the tomato meter. So that's a critic review. And we have an 87% audience score. I feel like that falls pretty in line for me. The movie, if you want to see some crazy cool, awesome stunts, you have to see this. I give it a 10 out of 10. The movie overall, I would give it like an 8.5. Like it's a fun time at the movie. But I also kind of agree that the timeline, this is not really like a start off the summer. This is like a middle of the summer. We've been doing things.
This would
like,
be tail end of the summer, I feel like. Tail end, like we're kind of losing steam a bit, but we still have a little bit more
early.
juice left.
for
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and so it feels like maybe if they would have pushed it back to like July or August, I think it might have done better. This would be like a hilarious movie to go watch 4th of July weekend when everybody's back home with their families. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like instead of
And
now.
meanwhile, 4th of July weekend, the only action movie I remember, like, again, it's been a while since I looked at the release schedule, is the Beverly Hills Cop movie, and that's coming out only on Netflix. So you'd think that there
Yeah.
would be more. I think the only you have that, you have Maxine, which is a horror movie, weird thing for 4th of July weekend. But yeah, you'd think that there would be like more of a. Yeah, I totally agree. Like there should be more of a like fun thing. Well, this is like I just April has been a real April to May has been like a really bad kind of time because I know Ministry did terribly. Abigail did terribly. It was just released like 3 weeks ago, and that just got released on streaming. That's pretty bad for a horror movie, especially when those make their money back really easily. That's pretty terrible.
Yeah.
So that's kind of concerning a little bit.
I mean, overall, I think go watch this movie. I think it is definitely a good time. It's good for a good laugh. It's good for the action, the stunts. Don't go watch this movie if you want your soul moved. Like that's not this kind of movie. And we're back with the Top Gun glasses because it's almost
Somebody
that
mentioned
time of
Top Gun.
year.
Somebody said Top Gun. I
feel the need for speed.
Find those, Dan.
I always feel the need for speed.
Just keep them at your desk.
You know? Yeah, I was like, pop out the drawer.
My aviator glasses broke, so unfortunately I don't have them anymore. But
you know what's the worst part?
I don't own aviator glasses.
This is the worst part about having these glasses is that
you wear yours underneath
I've got
it?
all these lights pointed at me, so I can't see anything. It's like literally I have lost track of where the mouse is, and now I'm trying to figure out like where to go next. And
we're having technical difficulties, everybody.
Yeah,
just,
like my vision has been clouded.
You guys, if you want to go see The Fall Guy, let us know. If you've already seen it, what do you think about it? We're always here talking about movies every week. We try to drop an out-of-theater review just to let you guys know what we're doing on our socials, but we're back here reviewing movies every week. And sometimes you'll get to see Dan in these really weird, cool aviator glasses.
Yeah. Oh, wait, what did I just do? There we go. Okay.
He was like, so on that note, but yeah, let us know if you guys go see the movie. Dan, are you going to go see it anytime soon?
My eyes are burning. The sun is in my face. I'm going to see it. I would love to see this movie. This is, they're very much on my list. Wow, I really couldn't see anything. It's like, it was dark. Like everything just went dark all of a sudden. It's like, like,
Dan wears his sunglasses at night, ladies and gents.
I wear my sunglasses.
That's the only way that's the only way you can do it. It's, yeah.
No, I'll be blind.
But, yeah. And on that, okay, so with that said, guys, of course, it was great watching you guys talk about The Fall Guy. It's made me even more excited than I was before.
Yeah.
But now we're gonna pivot away. Wait, what did you say, John?
Sorry, support your movie theaters, please. They need it.
Please,
like
go see
please,
it.
Just see Fall Guy back to back. See Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes next week. Please just support your movie theaters.
Go support your
There's
movie
only
theaters.
so many Nolans and Tom Cruises and James Camerons out there in the industry that's supporting movie theaters. Please, for the love of God, support your movie theaters.
Get the AMC pass, y'all. It's only $25 in
AMC, Regal Unlimited, anything. Just please.
It's fine. Just do it.
You'll have to suffer through Nicole Kidman, but it's fine. It's fine. Just do it, please.
We're gonna do our own version of that someday. Like I have no doubt. Like I think that would be so much fun.
I'm signing up.
Find a mom and pop theater, and then just we'll just be like, let's go do it. Let's go film this.
Honestly, seeing in a bedazzled pantsuit would be that would be great.
I own one actually. It's blue.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
I'll be here next week in my blue bedazzled pantsuit, everybody.
There we go.
Just stay tuned.
I mean, and on that note, we're here at Oh So Curious, and everything we do is for the love of movies. So what I want to do is today And it's not just a me thing; it's the whole team. We celebrate movies here every week for the love of movies, and so this past week it was the 25th anniversary of the release of Star Wars Episode One: The Phantom Menace. This is a movie where people would literally, at the time, because YouTube didn't exist back in 1999, they would go into other movies just to watch the trailer for The Phantom Menace and walk out. Can you imagine paying for a movie ticket to do just that? I can't, but this is some, of course, a different time that we're talking about, the 90s. It was a different time. It was the first Star Wars movie in like 2 decades. And now it's been 2.5 decades since that movie came out. So we would like to, pay a tribute to this 25th anniversary of Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. And in honor of that, let's take a look at this.
All right, get out your lightsabers.
You just may have noticed that Star Wars, the latest episode, opens nationally at midnight tonight.
You will be a Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
Well, that was the Phantom Menace. That movie, I came across a reel on May the 4th where it was that moment where, Darth Maul pulls out the second blade, and it's just like in sync with this whole sequence of Joe Rogan and everybody watching a UFC fight going crazy with a knockout. And I was like, this is perfect, because that's what people were doing in the movie theater. But right now we're talking about a different movie, a very different movie than Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, because it's okay. I was gonna do a clever pivot there, but that's not gonna happen. So let's just dive into it. Anne Hathaway still has it. That and that's something that this movie certainly made very clear. So she was, of course, making a lot of people, guys happy for many years in her early part of her career. Then she kind of, sort of been off the radar for a few years, and people were like, "What happened to Anne Hathaway?" Is she still going after all those Oscars, or like what is she up to? And then this movie feels like it's a film where she's just having fun, and you know what, she deserves to have fun. And so today we're going to talk about the idea of you. And speaking of the idea of you, Bridget, you went and saw this movie. So what were your thoughts on the idea of you on Amazon Prime? By the way, it's not in a theater, it's streaming. So tell us all about that experience as well.
I had a lot of thoughts, a lot of high hopes, because personally, Anne Hathaway is like one of my inspirations. She's one of my favorite actresses. So I was really excited to get to watch this film. Like, I grew up watching Ella Enchanted, and honestly, like, her performance in Les Mis has always made me cry. So I think she's obviously amazingly talented. So when I first started watching, to be honest, I was a little worried because it is based off of a novel. I came to find out pretty quickly. And, it definitely has the vibes of like a cheesy Hallmark. So I think for me, I was a little confused to see her playing into this kind of genre of movie. And in it, she falls in love with a guy in a boy band. And I mean, I won't lie, I think the beginning was really cheesy. But as it progresses, it actually did catch my interest a lot more. And I really liked the theme, actually. Just kind of calling out some of the hypocrisy in our society, kind of about, the term like a cougar mom, and why it's so different the way that women get treated when they date someone younger versus when older guys do it. So I really liked the message. And by the end of it, I was kind of on board because I accepted what it is, which is, actually, I found a really good quote on Rotten Tomatoes. Someone said that fan fiction turned novel turned movies are their kind of bread and butter. and it's so delightfully refreshing to have one actually be good. So for me, I'm not really the biggest fan of that genre, but for people that are, I think they would love this film, because it definitely hits those marks and, gives that whole, especially with the boy band, it really made me think of like those Wattpad fan fiction stories that now become films and things. But yeah, it did get better, I think. And just for anyone that just wants like a silly rom-com to cuddle on the couch, eat some popcorn, and they just want something romantic and fantasy-like, then I think this is right up their alley.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this movie like looked very interesting because it felt very like earnest in terms of what the story that it tells. And like you said,
Yeah.
there's this big stereotype where it seems to be totally okay by society when an older guy's dating a younger woman, but like when it's the other way around and an older woman dates a younger guy, like people take a look, they seemingly frown upon that. And
Yeah.
for this to tackle that, obviously it's based on a book, but like it's not necessarily like an original story, but still to do that and do it in a way that feels authentic. And it tells a story where I read that the ending for this is, and this is big, and I say this as somebody who hasn't seen the movie yet, the
Mhm.
ending for this movie sort of pivots away from what the book did.
Yeah.
So can you kind of get into that a little bit more? I mean, it was really
Yeah.
interesting for me. Like I found this article in Entertainment Weekly that explained how that ending in the movie didn't almost happen, and then they figured out a way to make it work. But Anne Hathaway certainly had doubts about it. So can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. And it is a spoiler alert, just to say, but
Yeah.
in the end, I think in the book, what happens is her and the guy that she's in love with, they end up having to split because all the hate she's getting online, it's really affecting her daughter. So for that reason, she's like, this isn't going to work. And I think in the book, that's where it ends. They don't have a happy ending. But for the movie, what happens is they do like a 5-year break, and he says, give me 5 years when she's off in college, I'll come back. And she's like, like, no, you go find love, I'll find love. But then, yeah, he does come back in the end, and then we just see him visiting the gallery, and then it's up for us to decide what happens after that. So I do think that was better. I actually also saw a comment from one of the audience members I thought was kind of nice. They said that this movie gave them the ending that they were searching for in the book. The book left them shattered, and the movie repaired their heart with a happy ending. So I thought that was kind of sweet for people that read the book first.
Yeah, it's really interesting because as a adaptation of a book, I mean, you don't see a lot of rom-coms being adapted into movies these days. It's certainly
Mhm.
like people are going after bigger IP. I don't know if Anyone But You was an adaptation. I don't think it was. If I
Mhm.
might be wrong about that, but I mean that was, of course, it seems like we're at a time now where rom-coms are maybe making a comeback. Like Anyone But You certainly had a big moment.
Yeah.
I think now it's coming to, what was it, Netflix? I think it was, I saw the other day that it's coming to Netflix soon. So, it's been I said it's been out of theaters only for a few weeks. So it was very interesting to see that. But I'm just curious to see how well this thing does. The other question I had about this movie, of course, it's on Amazon Prime. So,
Mhm.
You don't go to a movie theater to watch this. It's not like it's in theaters and on streaming. It's only on Amazon Prime. So,
Mhm.
you need to have a subscription to Prime, otherwise you can't see it. So it's behind a paywall. So to that end, I wanted to ask, do you feel like this is the kind of movie that if it was in a movie theater, it would be worth your time going to see it in a movie theater?
Hmm. You know, I mean, I think by the ending it gets a lot better, but I don't know. I know some people that'll stay for like the first 15 minutes of a movie, and then if it seems like it's going bad, they might just leave. And honestly, that's kind of how I was feeling. Like I didn't know anything about this until I started watching it, and like right away at their little neat, cute moment, I was like, who wrote this? Like this is so silly, like this would never happen in real life. And I was like, this has to be like a fan fiction. And then I saw it was a novel, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. So I think the first half really wasn't that strong, to be honest. I kind of wish it had like just more like it was a little more realistic, maybe. But by the end, I was on board. So I don't know if I would have left that disappointed. But it just doesn't have like a great hook in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely. This movie has all the hallmarks of a very cliche rom-com, right? It's like you could be watching a Hallmark movie, but of course, it's got Anne Hathaway in it. You can't like. I mean, Anne Hathaway hasn't
And
quite gone.
her acting was
It's
great. I mean, she
it's
did
great. Yeah.
well.
Yeah, I mean, I was just like, it's an Anne Hathaway movie. It's not a Hallmark movie. I mean, how Hallmark would like the amount of money they spend on every movie that they play the whole year, they would have to spend, and even then, they could probably not get Anne Hathaway to, be in one of their movies. But
Right.
but it seems like if you go by the Rotten Tomato score, so let me pull that up here real quick. 83% certified
pretty
fresh,
high.
and it's got like over 100 views. That's a good number. What I do worry about is the 68% audience score. Do you feel like that's indicative of something? Because usually for audience scores, when they go below 80%, that you start to wonder, like, did they really like it? Like, did the audiences really care about this movie?
Yeah.
But also that could be a little weighed down by the fact that it's a movie that's not in a movie theater. So naturally, like, A, you got to know this movie's coming out. B, you got to know where this movie's coming out at, which is Amazon Prime. And then C, you need to be subscribed to Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And nowadays, with all the streaming services costing as much money as they do,
Mhm.
to check all three of those boxes, you're really asking people to do a lot of work there. And like, that's not always something that's going to drive an audience towards a movie. I do wonder like how well this movie would have done considering what Anyone But You did in theaters, and and now it's coming to Netflix soon. But imagine if they put this out in a movie theater. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe Amazon should have pivoted when they saw how successful that movie was recently.
Right.
So
And I did see some people say that they liked this better than Anyone But You. So it's possible it could have done fairly well. Yeah. And it definitely like I did like I just feel like that's like a message you don't see a whole lot. I know there was like May December, which was a little similar, but definitely in the other direction because obviously that person was underage. But I just felt like this is something wasn't on my mind, and just bringing up the topic I thought was like, that is, I don't know, kind of like that when it's like when you watch a movie and then you get a new idea, like some more discussion about something, and it's like, well, that was important to see, and you want other people to see it too. And yeah, it's the interesting thing too is a lot of people said that they think it was inspired by like Harry Styles and Olivia Wilde's relationship.
I did hear that. I mean,
I think there was. I think the author said there was a little bit of inspiration, but she drew on like a bunch of like Michael Hutchins and Paula Yates' relationship too. That was also something that was prominent in the mainstream media. So there have been other things in history. But yeah, that's what I thought of too. The whole time I was like, oh, that must have been what they had gone through, and that really stinks. But it's
that
like,
could have been a coincidence. I mean, it just could be that it just happens to be the case. But I mean, at the end of the day, this is a movie that's going to hopefully continue to draw audiences in, because it's a movie that certainly feels like it's worth a watch. It's not even 2 hours. Anne Hathaway not only starred in the movie, she also produced the movie, which is fantastic. One of our audience members, Fiona, pointed that out earlier, and I'm like, yeah, that is very much true. I was looking into that earlier, and I saw that, yes, absolutely. She was very much, this is her movie. And she's at a point in her career now where she's able to do that and just have fun. Like it's you can always do movies that are gonna, give you a chance at the award season, but you also just got to have fun with your career and just enjoy yourself. And and exactly, and to that end, I think this movie does the job, and I'm excited to go watch it. I have Amazon Prime. I just haven't had the chance to check it out, but there are a lot of people, of course, who did like yourself. So let's take a quick look at what the audiences have generally been saying about this movie, and then after that, on the other side of this, we'll get into DC Daily.
This is your trailer?
Yeah, I'm in the band. We're performing on the main stage.
August Moon?
Yeah. I met someone tonight. I feel a little inspired.
Anne Hathaway has a relationship with a guy 16 years younger than her in her new movie, which means you could say that she really Hathaway with younger men.
It's based on Robin Lee's hit novel. I genuinely think this is a movie that everybody should see and should love, but I really made this movie for us.
It's one of the better romances that I've seen recently.
and welcome to another episode of DCU Daily. And today we're talking about Superman. Yes, we finally have the suit. Oh my god, we finally have the suit. It is something that we have been just waiting for, like literally since the moment James Gunn announced that there's a new Superman, and it's not going to be Henry Cavill. But all that aside, David Cornsweet, he is looking fantastic in this new suit. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of this. But actually, before I do that, let me bring in, of course, John and Angelina. You guys are here to talk about this. I'm sure you have a lot to say about it. I'm going to start with John because, John, I know that this is a moment that you have literally been waiting for. I don't know how long. And I mean, you have been sick recently, so I was like, hopefully that helped you,
You can probably still hear it in my
bide your
voice.
time. Yeah, I still hear it. But I'm excited for you just as much as you're excited about this news. So I want to hear what you think about this new Superman suit.
Finally, an outfit I can talk about that isn't coming from pretentious rich celebrities. Yay, let's go. Okay, so my buddy messaged me this, and I'm like, oh god, what's this? And I fucking see it, and I'm like, holy shit. It was kind of this grainy looking picture. So I'm like, okay, let me find the original picture that James Gunn posted. And for the most part, I like the suit. I like it. I don't love it. I like the color scheme. You can kind of tell on the top. It's a little burned. You could tell it's like battle damaged. James Gunn did say that this was an on-set picture. The background is probably green screen if I were to guess.
I mean, that could be the volume too, right? Like they
or
could be
that
they're
I
shooting
was
against the
literally just
volume.
gonna say the green screen
Yeah.
or the volume. Yeah.
Yeah.
AR wall, whatever it's called. But you could tell it's like battle damage. For the most part, I like it. I think the red is properly bright. I think the blue is bright enough. Like I've said this before when we were talking about the suit. Is I prefer like royal blue and scarlet red. That's what I like to see. I love like the brightest of blues and the brightest of reds and the brightest of yellows. This is still really good. Don't get me wrong. However, the qualms I have with it is I feel the cape placement, now that I see it up close, a little weird.
I knew you were gonna mention that because you were always like you didn't like the way the cape would tuck in.
Yeah,
like
I feel like
suit
I
too, right?
just
Yeah.
like to see it like the Brandon Routh Kingdom Come suit tucked into the collar. I just feel like that looks the best. And I don't like the new 52 inspiration. I don't like the lines and the over design like a lot of other superhero costumes have been doing. I just feel like it's too like overly designed, and I don't like the collar. It's not as bad as the new 52 suit where that looks too like Kryptonian armor militaristic type.
How much money do you think it costs to design this suit?
And
how many hours?
A lot.
Truly.
I would say like a couple
I
million.
feel like
yeah.
Just to
Like-
design the suit. That's so wild to me.
Yeah.
Craziness.
For the most, I do really like the suit. You can see it from here. We finally have trunks. We have the trunks.
it's there.
We have
The
the
belt
underwear,
is-
and I'm like, yes, thank fucking God. We have trunks. We have the red underwear. I love to see it. I love that cheesy look. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, it's stupid he's wearing his underwear on the outside. No, it's perfect. Why? Because goddamn it, Superman is a cheesy boy. He is a weird cheesy boy, and of course he would wear his underwear on the outside.
Horrified.
Ridiculous.
I am horrified
It's
here.
ridiculous,
Horrified.
and I love it. I also like the gold utility belt.
Giving
I like that
SpongeBob
look,
SquarePants.
and I love it. I love seeing it. So it has a lot of stuff I really, really like. It has some things I don't really like. So overall, it's a good suit. I wish we got a better look at it. Like, for instance, like when, the heroic images that dropped of like the Brandon Routh suit or the Henry Cavill suit or the Tyler Hoechlin suit, where we got like a good, big, nice, heroic shot. This is like kind of like more grounded, a little bit more down to earth. Which I can kind of see, he's just like kind of putting on a suit, which I get. Like, I see they're kind of doing like a more grounded portrayal of that rather than big hero shot. I get.
I mean, there's a lot of dirt, and like maybe there's a little.
And I
trying
still
on
like the
logo.
Kingdom Come logo.
Yeah,
I like it.
I will also say that this image kind of gives first looks at how James Gunn is going to tell this story. It's a little grittier. It's a little bit darker. It's not really giving Henry Cavill Superman. It's giving a little like dirtier, grimier. Like, but I think that's the reality of a real superhero. I don't think it's all shiny and glistening foreheads. Not that I didn't love Henry Cavill. Y'all know I did. But yeah, I think it's kind of a nice portrayal so far. It feels like it's going to be not only like a little more down to earth, but yeah, you see that glistening forehead. You see what I'm talking about. It looks like he's got highlighter on that. So yeah, I don't know. It seems like a really fun look into the storyline and how it's going to be played. In the same sort of article that they were talking about this, obviously James Gunn posted this photo, but we got a first look at the actors from the read-through and how it went. Rachel Brosnahan, who is one of my favorite actors. I finally finished Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. I was saving it because I started watching that movie, like that series, when I was packing up my very first apartment in LA. So it has really been like an era of my life. So I was kind of holding it out. But it's now that I've seen the end of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I actually think I have a little bit more faith in Lois Lane. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, I was really skeptical of the casting. Even though I love her, I'm just like, I don't know. But we sort of get a first look in this Variety article about the table read and everything coming together. And at the time that this article came out, I'm not even sure they had started filming yet, or at least she had not stepped onto a set yet. So it seems like a really good team. I mean, it's really exciting getting to see like new looks at everything. And I know you guys were so excited about this too.
I mean, it's Rachel Brosnahan's gonna probably be in some of the promotional pictures soon. She's a big part of she's gonna be a big part of this movie. I think like Lois Lane, we've talked about it, John and I, like she is going to play a big role in this film. What we have wondered is whether Lois Lane is gonna know that Superman is Clark Kent. Kind of like, Margot Kidder's Lois Lane didn't really know in the first movie so much, and it really played into the relationship between the two characters, both when we had Clark Kent on screen as well as, of course, when we had Superman on screen. You could see the difference. The other thing I was gonna say about this suit is, and let me just go back to the picture again. John, do you think this is the suit that we had that close-up image from? Because I know the logo kind of looks the same,
like it,
but it's
maybe
almost,
like that was like a sort of like a early version of it. Like
yeah.
they were like kind of designing like a proto version, and then this was the one they settled on because the yellow is a little bit more pronounced, the red's a little bit better, and it's more of a like a straight line. Like the other one was kind of curved. This one's kind of more, on there. So a little bit more straight. And yeah. Oh, he disappeared. But yeah, I really like this suit. I just wish like it wasn't like kind of battle damaged or whatever. So we could get a little bit better look of it.
Yeah.
But I'm just glad we got trunks. I'm glad that we got a nice color scheme as well.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing about this suit to me we talked. Okay, so I had this image up earlier in a previous episode. I think this is from like a tweet where apparently David Cornsweet's stunt double Justin Howell was talking all about like he had to wear the same underwear as as David Cornsweet did. So we had some hints that we were gonna get the underoos back. What I do wonder is how they're gonna I mean, I don't know how you justify that as a part of the costume outside of saying alien culture, they have different customs and norms, and therefore they have this.
Sometimes
or they just
you
don't
just
even
don't
touch
need to
upon
explain
it.
it. It's a movie.
Yeah, like it's
it's like
I mean,
it's a man can literally fly and shoot laser beams out of his eyes. Do you really need a reason why he wears red underwear outside of his suit? Like,
that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, I feel like but here's the other thing too, right? Like it's in Man of Steel, they made a point of explaining a lot of those concepts because previous Superman movies hadn't really done that. But Man of Steel was trying to be way more grounded. But we can totally. I think we're kind of in an era now where we have done the quintessential version, we have done the really grounded version, and now we're kind of going in a direction where you can reinvent the character, and whether you want to go in a direction that's very comic book like, and yet something new, kind of like the Batman, where of course that suit reveal was one heck of a reveal with the whole video and the vibe and the music and the lighting and it just really gave you a sense of what Robert Pattinson's Batman suit and what his character was going to be like. This is a little more, basic by comparison, but at the same time, you're really getting a sense for a Superman that's distinctively different from every Superman that we've ever seen before. But one thing I did want to touch upon before we wrap up, and I'm sure we're going to be coming back to this picture and dissecting it and all the details, in the weeks to come, days and weeks to come. There's this little thing in the background. I don't know what that is, whether that's a planet, whether there's just some energy beam. Is it one of those like floating trash in the sky kind of moments that, movies were all the blockbuster movies were known for, the circling trash in the sky, like in the Suicide Squad or every Transformers movie? It seems like it's something alien. Do you think this is hinting at something like Brainiac?
Because you see pink, you see green, you see purple. So some people have made the claim that it's Brainiac because it has a similar color scheme, but James Gunn did confirm that Lex Luthor is the villain, so it might be his mech suit, which also has a green and purple color scheme.
Yeah.
But it could also be like the green is Guy Gardner, and then the pink and purple is something else. So it could be anything. I'm really curious about that, and obviously, James Gunn did this on purpose. Like, he's giving us so much with something that the fans have been clamoring for months now. It's like, okay, you get this suit, but I'm still going to raise some goddamn questions that you're going to dissect the hell out of this image, so we can still have a conversation going. So that's what James Gunn loves to do. He's like, all right, fine. I'll give you the suit, but I'll raise more questions than I do answers. Because
I mean, Angelina,
I'm a magic man.
He is. I mean, he's a master at giving you just enough information. Yes, exactly. That's exactly what he does. I mean, Angelina, what do you think that the city in the background is some recognizable skyline? Can you pinpoint like maybe where this might be, or is this something completely original that we just haven't seen before? It looks like it's Earth. I just can't tell where on Earth it is.
I don't know.
It looks
It's
like
kind
there's
of
a skyscraper
giving
back there.
Chicago, like the Chicago skyline, or I mean, maybe parts of New York, but I don't know if the high rises are high enough to be New York. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely like it seems like there's these twin towers with a bridge, which I know there's like something like that in is it in Malaysia or something? There's a city I forget which city, but it's
I'm not the person to be talking to about that. Geography is not my strong suit.
I mean, for all we know, this could be Earth-like, but not Earth. Yeah.
No,
I mean, John,
it looks like Earth to me. Why are we speculating that it's not Earth?
Well, because Supergirl. I'm saying Supergirl is going to be in this movie at some point. It seems like she is because James Gunn has cast the role, even though we don't have a director for her own movie. So likely making a cameo. We know that she, in certain comic iterations, is living in, was it Kandor, or what's the city that she's that kind of got floated into space?
Yeah, the bottle city of Kandor. Yeah.
Well, so could this be Kandor? Like that Superman's I mean, clearly this is on the volume, like the way this is lit and everything, and the background, because it looks like it's not a real thing. And if it was all James Gunn in his message, let me pull that up.
He did say it was on set.
It's on set and it's all on camera. He said very specifically that it's all on camera.
Yeah.
So I'm led to believe that, of course, this is on the volume, but also it could be Earth-like, but not Earth. Of course, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 had that throughout the movie. We did have a question from an audience member here, and I did want to bring that up. Hunter Iggy was asking, what are your thoughts on people bashing the Superman suit reveal and then saying that they want Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill back? I mean,
I think it's a bunch of people that can't move on. That's all it is. It's people that can't move the fuck on. Yeah, it's like Captain America in Avengers and at the beginning of Avengers Endgame. Everybody moves on, but not us. We're gonna still be clamoring.
Did you guys
like Zack Snyder will be dead and buried? Like he will fucking die, and people will still want the Snyderverse back. because that's what they. It's like it's saddening because I loved Henry Cavill as much as everybody else did, but move the fuck on. It's not happening. Just stop. Just because you got the Snyder cut doesn't mean it's all happening still. Just stop. It's okay.
Yeah, I think
Go
at
to
this
therapy.
point it's kind of like whatever. When obviously we were going through all the speculation about, is Henry Cavill coming back? I wanted Henry Cavill to come back, but at this point, like the whole movie has been cast by now, you guys. Like, it is what it is. This is what we're getting, unless something happens on set, which sometimes it always does. But Henry Cavill definitely is not coming back. There's no way, even if at some point down the road, David Cornsweet was like, can't do it. Henry Cavill's probably booked up for the next 10 years schedule-wise now at this point.
The
Like,
dude's
this is
got
just not
so many
happening.
clever Gentlemanly Warfare, Warhammer 4000.
Yeah.
He's probably got like five other projects ongoing that we don't have any idea about just yet. I know he left The Witcher, but people are lining up to give him jobs. And he's gonna be on other franchises. And he's producing some stuff too. Like the Warhammer franchise, he's gonna be producing that as well as starring in it. So, yes, we'll see how that goes. But all around, his time as Superman, it lasted a decade. I know he didn't quite have the run a lot of people wanted him to. I, for one, think Man of Steel is still the greatest Superman movie of all time. I guess until Superman comes out next year, and we'll see if that one has the juice. But you just gotta look at it and say, hey, look, at this point, it's been a couple of years since they made that announcement that no, he's not gonna be back, and it's gonna be another year from now, basically, till this movie comes out. So we have plenty of time to sort of get closure with that. You will always have Man of Steel. You will have Batman versus Superman. You'll have Zack Snyder's Justice League to look back at. And if that's your version of Superman, like a lot of people out there, they're like, Christopher Reeve is still our Superman. Christopher Reeve is not with us anymore, but you can still enjoy his movies. And you can still, like Michael Keaton, if he's your Batman, he's your Batman. He will still tell you he's Batman. And if you can't, say no to that. But that doesn't mean you can't go and enjoy Robert Pattinson's Batman, or you couldn't enjoy Ben Affleck's Batman, or you can't enjoy Tyler Hoechlin's Superman and Superman and Lois's final season. I think there's enough room out there for everybody to really, enjoy their version of the character. And if you have a favorite, you still have those versions of their movies and TV shows to look back on. And if they're not going to be there in the future, then just keep an open mind. I think this suit overall gives us something really to look forward to. I'm excited about it, guys. All around, I would say it's a suit that probably gives us, like John said, more questions than answers, and that's probably a good thing because that will just keep the conversation going. Today's the Met Gala, and we're talking about the Superman suit. That goes to show you how big of a deal this is. So, and of course, it also tells you where our priorities are on Also Curious. So, with that said, guys, go out there, watch something DC related, as you always say. If you want to go watch Man of Steel again, give it a shot. Batman v Superman, you can go back and watch that again. Or if you're just looking forward to this new Superman movie, then keep an eye out for more news on this new Superman movie, because I'm sure as more images and behind the scenes looks start to trickle in, we're going to get into that and all that much more in the coming days, weeks, and months. We'll be back at it tomorrow on DCU Daily. So, keep checking back here and join us. If you have any, questions and comments, leave them in the live chat. And we're definitely going to talk about it on the show. Hunter, you had a great question, and we wanted to address that, of course. Whether the future of Superman is brighter or not with James Gunn, we're gonna find that out. But Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill's time with the character is in the past. You can still enjoy it. And guys, go out there and watch something DC related, and come back and talk to us about it next time. Right now, we're gonna pivot over to the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's the longest title of the movie that so far this season, because we had the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, the American Society of Magical Negroes. There's just long name movies coming out these days. And at this point, I'm just tired of making room for them on the graphics. So I just said Kingdom ... Apes. And that doesn't mean that I'm not excited about it. I am, and John is too. John just said, heck yeah, LOL, in our private producer chat. So John, let's talk about this. How excited are you for this Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie?
If you full screen me real quick, I don't know if you could see my my Apes poster in the background when I went to go see when War of the Planet of the Apes was released. They did a release where they did all three movies in one showing. So I watched all 3 movies, even though I had seen them before with my dad, and it was so great. You probably can't. There it is. See, you can see that. I love Planet of the Apes. I love the new trilogy. It is definitely one of the most underrated trilogies. Nobody ever talks about it, and it's great. The trailer, I was immediately hooked. Speaking of Henry Cavill, we have his Witcher counterpart here with Freya Allen in the film.
Yep.
And
I was
we
excited to
also
see
have like
her.
a stacked cast, and I'm so pumped for this. I love this version. Like, don't get me wrong, the original Planet of the Apes is excellent. The Tim Burton one, we don't talk about that one, but these
No, we don't
movies
talk about that one. No.
are absolutely fucking stellar. I'm so excited for this. It's going to be a wonderful day indeed, and I'm so stoked. I am so goddamn stoked for this. Best movie of the
Yeah.
summer, maybe. I don't know, but I
Maybe.
can hope.
It's the year of the apes, you know? Like, there's a lot of movies of the apes coming out, and this may be the best one. And Angelina, what are your thoughts about this? You're gonna go see this movie, of course. So, are you
Yeah.
looking forward to it? Have you watched the other ones in the franchise?
No, I kind of feel like I need to get caught up. You know, I have always been a big movie fan, but as you guys know, some of the some of these series I didn't watch before, and I gotta get up to par in order to be able to give you guys the fullest review. Remember when I watched all 4 John Wick movies like in a week? Yeah, it sounds like it's gonna be one of those. I do vaguely remember the Planet of the Apes movie with somebody. Yeah, I don't even remember the actor that was in it. So yeah, we're gonna do some homework before we go see this one. It does look like fun. The CGI looks like it could be possibly too much, but I do love this actress, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, I mean, this movie, like you said, Freya Allen, of course, in the trailer, I've seen the trailer for this. I think it was the first trailer where
It's funny because she's kind of playing like a very similar character to what she's playing in The Witcher.
Yeah, I mean, the apes are like, oh, she doesn't really talk and stuff, and she's like, I talk, or something to that effect. And then, like, they literally like drop what's in their hands, and it's kind of like this comedic moment in the middle of this very intense trailer. I love that, and it feels like this movie kind of skips ahead in time a little bit from where the previous trilogy leaves
Yeah, I
off.
believe it's
So time has
400
passed.
years.
Yeah, like it's significantly farther along, and we're not gonna be in a situation where back in the day, you know, the apes had, they had these courtrooms and like political intrigue and drama. It still very much feels authentic. Like it's not like these apes in 400 years all of a sudden became humans. Like
Right.
I think that they're telling a story that feels
It's its own
realistic
world.
and grounded. Exactly. And of course, Andy Serkis has moved on to other things, but you know, this is a franchise that he birthed into existence with his performance as Caesar, and that was the main character of that trilogy. Now that we move past Caesar's story, what I wonder is what the story of this new
Right.
trilogy is going to be. It's kind of like the new Jurassic World set of movies that that are on the way. What are they going to be talking? What's going to be the
Yeah.
focus of that new trilogy? So that similarly, I'm thinking about like, where are we going with this new set of movies? It does sort of hint back to some of those classic movies, like, you know, of course, there's a ship here wrecked on the beach. That definitely brings back the memories of the Mark Wahlberg one. The one. But anyway, the point is that Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, it looks as photorealistic as all those Lion King movies did. The new Mufasa movie looks like it's not animated. This movie looks like they're real freaking apes sitting in front of a real fire.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
very few scenes where I'm like,
Actual time went into it. It's crazy. They didn't cut
Yeah.
corners. I bet on. I
Exactly.
hopefully on this production they actually let VFX artists actually go to the bathroom and have a lunch break.
Yes.
Unlike the ones that
Yeah.
working at Disney. So you know we can only hope.
Are the ones hired by Disney, because they're usually not.
John's
like,
just throwing
Disney
hands
employees.
at everybody today,
Yeah.
you guys.
I
I was
will
throwing hands
gladly
at the
throw
Kardashians
hands
during the
at
Met Gala,
Disney
and John
all
is
the
just like
time.
throwing hands at people. He's just like,
Fuck
Oh
Disney.
yeah, yep.
I'm gonna
I
say
mean, what was
fuck Disney.
the moves? Angelina had the moves there. Yeah, yep. Just like that.
that's John throwing hands right there in his room.
It's more. I feel like it's more like that, but you know, other than that.
Yeah,
but
no.
you know,
more of a jab.
I'm not. I can't
Yeah.
fight very well, so maybe it is just kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, regardless of how you throw hands, or regardless of how we throw hands, you can let us know how you throw hands in the comments.
You
And
can,
of course in the
you
live
can tell
chat.
that people at Oh So Curious aren't really throwing hands physically at anybody ever. No, just never.
Yes.
We don't
No,
do
we-
that.
We
We
believe
don't go
in
to jail here
communicating
at
with
So
our
Curious.
words. We
Yes.
believe with communicating with
We're
our
in-
words.
Communicate with our,
We're
with our words.
intelligent
Communication is
human beings.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Maybe.
And we'll be watching some Intelligent Apes in the movie theater this week at Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So guys, go out there, watch that movie, come back and talk to us about it. We'll be back tomorrow and the rest of the week with more DCU Daily. Of course, we had the new Superman suit reveal. We talked about the Met Gala at the top of the show. If you missed that, you can rewind back and watch it all over again. We talked about the idea of you and Hathaway having the best time of her life doing a rom-com, and Bridget was on the show talking about that. We also discussed The Fall Guy, which is a great tribute to the world of stuntmen. I mean, they deserve to have their own category at the Oscars, and John, it looks like they are going to be getting one. And of course, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's a long title. You could just call it Kingdom. If you
This
want
year
to.
is the movie year of the craziest, weirdest, longest titles. Like, can we just get Apes?
Yeah.
The new planet.
Can we just
like
not as long as Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare that had 11 syllables. Kingdom only has 9, so I'll give them that.
That's fair.
Yeah, I have seen so many long titles. You guys, I film these out of theater reviews, and if you all don't watch them on social media, I will be sad because you understand how many times I have to retape that standing outside of the movie theater. These people walk back and forth like, what is this lady doing? Because I have to do all of these crazy tongue twister. And hi everybody, it's Angelina. I just finished watching The Ministry of the Ungentle. Hi everybody, it's Angelina. I just finished doing the Unministry over and over and over again.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Been there.
broken.
Yep.
It's good times.
Well, it's gonna be interesting because it's a full sentence. It's not as long as the Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn, but it is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And on that note, before John blows a gasket, we will call it a show, and we will see you next time on Oh So Curious.